Kia ora everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Renee. I like to read books and then talk about them on the internet. It is very early on a Saturday. I'm not normally up this early. I'm usually lying in at this point. But we've got a special field trip planned for today. We are heading to the Great Auckland Bargain Book Sale. Yes, we're going to a book fair today and I thought I would make a video, a little bit of a guide to book fairs, how to prepare yourself for them, what to take with you. I'm going to vlog a little bit of the book fair and then I'll show you what I got at the end of it. Great! The Great Auckland Bargain Book Sale happens every year around November, the same time. It is a 2-day book fair sale. All the books are donated. Oh, good boy! Mars has to come in and say hello because he ate all his food. He's a good boy. Yes. Yeah, so it's a fundraiser for this stadium that they have it at every year. Historically, for me, has been a fair that I've either attended hungover or tired or sick. This is the first year where I feel good and I'm not running on fumes, so I'm feeling excited, ready to go. And it's definitely a book fair worth visiting. I have found some really great gems in the past from this fair. Of all the Auckland book fairs, this is like one of two that I definitely religiously try to attend just because I know I'm going to be able to find some really good stuff there. What to expect? First off, it's always good to arrive early. I like to arrive early so that I can get in early and also avoid the crowds. There's often really big crowds at this fair. It can get quite overwhelming and quite claustrophobic. I don't really love huge crowds of people, especially when you're all kind of like trying to squeeze in alongside these tables full of books. People can get quite, antsy and it can be a bit full on. So be prepared for big crowds, and if you want to try to avoid those, I would recommend going early. Another thing I would say to be aware of or just to know is that there are book resellers that attend these fairs. They are people who are typically trying to find books that have the highest value that they can resell online. In New Zealand, it's most likely Trade Me. They're often just like smash and grab, grabbing whatever they can, throwing it in a bag, filling it up until they can't carry it anymore, and then paying for them and just like doing this all day. It is a really bizarre concept to me. I don't understand. I know these people are trying to make a living, but the first time I saw it, I was a little bit freaked out because I was like, what's going on? They're generally not looking for the same stuff I'm looking for, so I'm never worried about them like taking all the good stuff, but it is just something to kind of, I try to stay away from them and get out of their way if they are being a bit like pushy or anything like that. Mostly people are like really nice and polite and patient and will just let people browse at their own pace, but booksellers, they're a whole other kind of type of beast. Another thing I would say is take a list, have a few books in mind that you would like to kind of find. Thinking about the types of books that these fairs sell, this one in particular doesn't have a ton of like new release stuff, but you will find maybe backlists from like the last 4 or 5 years, and that stuff is generally more kind of sought after, so you do have to get in early, but you're not going to find new release stuff at these fairs. It's all backlist. It's all going to be stuff that's been donated, they've had in their kind of storage for a really long time, but you can still find some really, really good things. So take a list, but don't get too fixated on the list. You don't want to get disappointed and end up coming away with nothing. You have to be quite open-minded to what the fair has to offer. I found some really great books that way that I never thought I would find or didn't even have on my radar. But at the same time, I've also found some stuff that I did have on my radar and have ended up being really happy about that. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what to take with you. Starting off with a bag. Bag is important, I think. I'm taking this black Bagoo bag just because it is, it's crossbody, so I don't have to worry about it like falling off my shoulder. I can be hands-free. It's quite a good size, so it fits like a decent amount in it, and it's really comfortable. Today is all about comfort. You want to be comfortable, you want to make sure you're well prepared, and the bag is essential. Okay, what is in the bag? What do I take to these things? First up, overhead headphones. These are important. I really like to put myself in my own little world and kind of block everything out. So take these, listen to a podcast or two, maybe listen to an audiobook. And it really helps with kind of like not getting too distracted by what everyone else is doing. These are fully charged, so they're ready to go. Wallet is important. You have to take cash to these things. Not cash, but money. These events generally have FPOS or like some form of card payment, so you don't have to worry about taking cash. This book fair kind of prices their books based on size, so hardbacks could be like $4, paperbacks are $3. They have kids' books. I'm not sure how much those are. They also sell other things like records, puzzles. They sometimes have like rare books that they sell at like higher prices. So yeah, be prepared to kind of spend some money depending on what you're looking for. This is just a pouch that I have with lip balms. This just goes in all my bags whenever I go anywhere. Reusable bag. Take a reusable bag. You're going to need something to put all your books in while you're looking, carrying them around. Reusable bag is important. Obviously, I'm a Bagoo fan, so we got the Bagoo. And then in terms of like other little bits, I have this pouch that I just take in my bag that kind of goes with me everywhere. I have Band-Aids, Panadol, Nurofen, that kind of stuff. Plasters. Last year I got a wicked paper cut from a book and I didn't have a plaster. All I had was a tissue, and I needed to find someone to help me to stop it from bleeding. So this year I have my own Band-Aids just to be safe. Tissues in here. I have hand cream. I have hand sanitizer. This is important. You are going to a book fair that has books that you'll be touching. Before you do any touching of your face or anything, sanitize your hands, like at the end, at the very least. Obviously when I get home I make sure I wash my hands very thoroughly, but right after the fair when I'm done I like to use this before I do anything. I've also got hand cream, pen, mints, perfume, just general knick-knacky bits that I might need. One thing I won't be taking with me, and I don't generally do when I go to a book fair, is a book. This is my current read, The Sellout by Paul Beatty. I don't like to faff around with things that I don't need in my bag, so I know I'm not going to be reading. I'm going to be going to the fair and then coming home, so I don't typically take my book with me. It feels very strange and against everything I stand for, but I won't be carrying my current read with me. Now to the key, probably the most important piece of kit for me going to a book fair. And when I got this absolutely just changed everything. It's a trolley, a grandma trolley. I don't know what they're called, but I've had it for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's come to every book fair with me. It is so handy for putting books in while I'm browsing. I found that in the past when I've gone to book fairs and all I've had is reusable bags, it becomes really uncomfortable carrying like armful of bags around. Whereas this is super easy, it's super lightweight. You put your books in it and it just wheels around with you. It's just so much easier. So yeah, this is Dot. I've named her, and she comes with me to every book fair. Right, I think that is everything. Other things I like to think about before I go to book fairs is make sure I'm like well fed, hydrated, all that kind of stuff. You don't want to be passing out while you're looking at books in a room full of frantic people. Okay, let's go to the book fair. Okay, we have arrived. I'm here. There's a bit of a line. What is the time? I don't know what the time is. It's 1:45, so we've got 15 minutes. I'm kind of nervous, anxious about this. Like, when I say that I love book fairs, but also really hate them because of people, it's a bit of a tricky one for me to have to navigate. But yeah, I really don't love crowds of people or like the atmosphere vibe of these things, but I do it for the books, okay? This is how dedicated I am to these kinds of things. So yeah, I'm just gonna go in, do what I gotta do, put on my headphones, zone out, and then yeah. Okay. Hello. It is the next day. I'm ready to show you what I got from the book fair. It was a success, I would say. I bought 29 books. That feels successful to me, right? Yeah, it was a good day. Definitely like a different vibe compared to previous years. Definitely feels like it's becoming much more of a popular book fair, and things felt very picked over very quickly. I hope that there was some good stuff for people going back on the second day. I was there for maybe like 3 hours, and by the end of that 3 hours I definitely felt like I'd kind of looked through every section pretty thoroughly and was confident that I hadn't missed out on anything. Things I did notice was that they didn't have a classics section or a poetry section this year. I'm guessing donations on those kinds of books weren't massive. There were a few things that I was kind of hoping to find there and didn't. There were some things that I wanted to find there and did, which was great. My kind of process when I am at book fairs is I generally stay away from large paperbacks. I don't buy large paperbacks because I hate them. So that's like a great way of eliminating like 50% of the books at these fairs. The other thing that I'm looking out for is authors that I recognise and publishers that I recognise. And another thing I like to try to find is American editions of books, because I am a fan of a floppy American edition, as some of you may know. So yeah, those are kind of like my criteria that I help use to decide like what I even want to pick up and look at. I'm not generally a person who will pay a lot of attention or give a lot of time of day to books that I've never heard of before. In saying that, I did pick up a few books from some randoms yesterday. All the books that I purchased were $3, except for one, which was in the brand new book section, so that one was $5. I also purchased 2 puzzles and a board game yesterday as well, so there were some non-bookish purchases as well. But yeah, overall I'm like pretty happy with everything that I got, and let's just get to it. I'm not going to go too deeply into what each book is about because I don't generally spend a lot of time paying attention to that. I'm just very much like an instinctual, do I know this author? Does it really seem like a book that I would be into? Does it have good reviews on Goodreads? That kind of stuff. So I might just talk about like why I picked it up. So yeah, first up I have Geraldine Brooks' March. I first picked this up because I thought it was Gwendolyn Brooks. I got confused with the writers, and then I saw the winner of the Pulitzer Prize sticker. and thought, why not, let's give it a go. I then looked it up on Goodreads, and I'd seen that a few people that I follow had given it good reviews, so that's always a good sign. It is a Civil War novel, not necessarily my taste, but we'll see. Let's give that a go. That was the first random purchase. The next random purchase is an author that I had seen a lot of like around but never picked up, Penelope Lively, and it was Spiderweb. I picked this up because it's about a woman who is an anthropologist. She moves into a neighbourhood in Somerset in England. It just sounded interesting. It's about a woman who kind of observes people within that community that she establishes herself in. So I thought, let's give that a go. Next random purchase, Larry's Party by Carol Shields. This was totally the blurb that sold me. Carol Shields is someone that I do own a book by, but I haven't read, and I'm not super familiar with her work. But this is about a middle-aged man thinking about his life. It says, with salty wit and flawless wisdom. It just sounded like a bit of a hoot, so I thought, we'll give it a go. Someone messaged me on Instagram yesterday saying that they're reading this at the moment and that it's really fun, and it's very sarcastic and dry humour, which I like the sound of. So, oh, and it's the winner of the Orange Fiction Prize, so another prize winner. Okay, and then the last random book that I purchased is an NYRB, Hard Rain Falling by Don Carpenter. I picked it up because it was an NYRB, and I was reading the back and it sounded like it could be quite of an interesting read. What was the line? The novel follows the adventures of Jack Levitt, an orphan teenager living off his wits in the Fleabag hotels and seedy pool halls of Portland, Oregon. Someone also messaged me on Instagram yesterday and said that they had read a review of this and automatically put it on their TBR, so another good sign. Yay for me. Right, let's go into books from authors that I recognise. So these weren't necessarily on my radar specifically, but I know about the authors. First up, Chung Rae Lee, native speaker. I recently purchased My Year Abroad by this author, and the blurbs on the back sound kind of quite similar. Both academic novels. This protagonist is Korean American, and I think this is a little bit about like that kind of cultural identity for that character. This also had a really good review on Goodreads as well that kind of sold me on it, so happy about that one. Next I have The Blue Flower by Penelope Fitzgerald. I have a couple of books from her, that's why I picked her up. Author I recognise. This sounded a little bit outside my normal genre, but I'm willing to give it a go. Also, I really kind of love this 90s cover that we've got going on here. Good flop to it as well. Postcards by Annie Proulx, another author that I have a few books of that I have not read yet, but I'm meaning to get to her very soon, particularly Shipping News. This book I saw multiple times, and each edition that I picked up I then swapped out because I came across one that was like in better condition, and this was the best conditioned one of all of them. Love that cover. Very cool. These next two definitely came from the same person's library. They were right next to each other. The Stranger by Albert Camus and Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground. I don't really know what either of these are about, but Albert Camus, I have a few books from him. Dostoevsky, I have a couple of books from him. Translated fiction. This book was the $5 book, brand new book that I purchased, free, Coming of Age at the End of History by Leah. I really don't know how to say that last name. I'm so sorry. This one, I had a couple people comment yesterday on Instagram saying that this is brilliant and that they really, really recommended this. So happy about that. Happy to find a recent memoir at a book fair. Kim Ji-young, born 1982. This is a book that I was familiar with, kind of heard a few people review, mixed reviews, but thought, let's give it a go. The Baron in the Trees by Italo Calvino. I have a couple of his books already and have yet to read him, but I kind of can't help myself when I see things like this that are in pretty good condition. It's an American edition. It's got that nice glop to it. Another translated fiction. Julian Barnes's Elizabeth Finch. I have a book, The Sense of an Ending, from this writer. I'm not sure what this one's about. I read the blurb. It's about Elizabeth Finch, who was a teacher. The other thing is this was $40 retail, and I got it for $3, which is pretty amazing. Continuing on with the authors that I am familiar with. Lives of Girls and Women by Alice Munro. She's an author that I kind of just buy when I see. Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. Obviously not an author. I mean, he wrote this autobiography, I'm assuming. Maybe Ghost wrote. Anyway, interesting person. Seems like he would have a great life story to tell, so I'm interested to read that at some point. The Soul of a Woman by Isabel Allende. This, I think, is a memoir. Pretty sure it's a memoir. American Pastoral by Philip Roth. I'm familiar with Philip Roth, have a couple of his books already, haven't read anything from him. I think this one's part of a trilogy. I'm not sure what number it is either. The Passion of New Eve by Angela Carter. I can't remember who I've heard talk about this book. It's either been Iggy and Kieran, if not both of them, and I think it's supposed to be really weird. This cover is quite creepy as well. The Witch of Egmore by Margaret Drabble. Great cover. Love that photo on the front. Yeah, I've got a few Margaret Drabbles, but not this one. So we add to the collection. A Word Child by Iris Murdoch. Not sure how I feel about the cover, but I'd never seen this one before of Iris Murdoch, so I picked that up. Last pile of books is books that I either had on my wish list. One of them I've already read. The other two I already own, but I'm going to swap them out to replace the ones in my current collection. Okay, the first one was Oe by Becky Manawatu. I own a large paperback version of this. Reluctantly purchased it because it's a book that was very popular, very hard to come by in New Zealand secondhand, and I finally found a nice size paperback, so very happy about that one. I feel like I'll finally read it now because I prefer small paperbacks. The other one that I purchased that I will be replacing in my current collection is Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi. This I purchased because I prefer this cover to the one that I have, mostly because of the purple. It's all because of the purple, to be honest. This book I've already read and was pretty surprised that I actually picked it up in the first place. It might have something to do with the fact that I was listening to the New York book review podcast when I saw it, and they were talking about this author's latest book. And I thought, you know what? Of all the books that I've read, I could see myself rereading this one. It's Sally Rooney's Conversations with Friends. I'm not a massive fan of her writing. I don't own any of her books. I thought, it's $3. It's a nice American edition. It's kind of well read, which I like about it. And I could actually see myself rereading this someday. So happily re-add it to the collection. Okay, now we're going into the last 5 books, which were actually on my wish list. First one is Lucy by the Sea by Elizabeth Strout. I have a growing collection of secondhand hardcovers of Elizabeth Strout's books, which is nice. The Human Stain by Philip Roth. I think this was one of the books from the New York Times top 100 books from the last 21st century or whatever, 20th century. This book was on the list that I want to read that I don't already own. So I picked that up. Another book that I had on my radar was Gone Went by Jenny Erpenbeck. This cover is so unfortunate. We just got with that. Next I got Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Kong. Have been wanting to read this book for a while, but have never come across it secondhand until yesterday. So I'm excited about it. It's about a 30-something-year-old woman whose life is falling apart. Great. The final book that I purchased at the book fair was White Oleander by Janet Fitch. And I just the other day put this on my want to read list on Goodreads, so it felt like very good timing. And I was happy to find it. Yeah. Okay, there we have it. Everything that I picked up yesterday at the book fair. How did I do? Thumbs up, thumbs down? What do we think? Let me know what the best secondhand book purchase you've ever made is. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Ka kite.